Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, and welcome to this very special episode. It's Nurse Richard. I'm going to be reviewing some of Neil's tools by popular request. A lot of you have been asking me, so here they are. So above me, you're going to see an image of the tools. That's the curette and the hook, the Rai curette, the Rai hook, and in the top corner there, that's the old Jobson horn. You can already see the difference, can't you? And I'll explain the differences and why those changes had to be made, really. That one there you can see is the angled hook, and in the top corner again is the old St. Bart's hook. And as you can see, a lot bigger, a lot bulkier, a bit unwieldy, to be honest. And I've never been a fan. Now, anyone who's watched my channel for some time will probably know this. And I know I saw Connor reviewing these as well. And he's not the biggest of fans either. It is a bit of a lost art using tools, you know, but just because microsuction it's a lot easier. And it does come with some risks. You know, if someone's got tinnitus, you would prefer to use the manual tools and slightly veer away from the suction, because the noise can trigger an episode of that. But it is a bit of a lost art. It's not done as much in many training courses anyway, that I know of anyway. It's kind of skimmed over a little bit, you know, it's all focused on the suction, a lot of the ones. But the reason why I wasn't a fan of them, to be honest with you, is they're not very good. They're unwieldy, they're the wrong shape, and they're just not very good at doing the job, to be honest with you. There is a time and a place where some of them can come in handy, but more often than not, it's rare that suction doesn't get something out in the right hands, obviously. So it's not that I've shied away from them, they just don't do the job as well. And obviously Neil's recognised this and he's redesigned them or reimagined them, and thank God he did as well, because I must admit these are a lot better. Now, as you can already see, I think the first one I did with the curette there, I think that was the double-ended one. So it's got a curette on one end and a hook on the other end. Worked really well for that one, because you can see it kind of, it's curved to fit the natural curvature of the ear, whereas the other one isn't. It's straight, and obviously with the angle, it doesn't obstruct your view as well, because when you're putting it in, the handle can sometimes obstruct your view, get in the way of the endoscope. Really handy for something like this. You can't do this with the other one. Now, I'm just showing you highlights of procedures. It's not, there's a couple of full procedures, but it's just highlights where it's come in handy. And this is just the very first part of a procedure where someone has really squashed it into the base of the ear canal with a cotton bud. Ordinarily, it's really difficult to lift up, because in order to get this out, you need to lift it up and separate it. And the angulation of the curette there was perfect for just gliding underneath it without making contact with it. It saves a lot of time and effort. This is a little straightforward one with the hook, little bit of skin, which in true fashion I dropped onto the patient. It was very dry, to be fair. And I think the next one after this one, let's just see, drop, plop, there we go. Nice clear eardrum after that one. And this one, really dry. This is perfect for the hook, this, because they're slightly narrower. I think tapered is the right word that we're looking for as well. Certainly the curette is tapered. By that we mean it's thicker at the start of it and goes thinner at the end. That's why it's good for scooping underneath, around the side of everything, without making contact with the wall, which is obviously not what you want to do, because that's quite unpleasant and quite uncomfortable. But I certainly think, by the way, Neil, if you're watching this, thank you for sending me the samples. This is what I'm using now. It's much appreciated. So we've got the hook again there, and just going to try and get this behind it and embed it in. And the end of it is slightly more pointed than the old hook, so it's kind of a bit easier to dig in. So for getting it, just makes light work of something like that. Very, very, very dry plugs, really handy for ones like that. Now, this last one is where the curette really comes into its own. Now, this was halfway through a procedure and I got this thing jammed, and I mean jammed right in between the bends. Now, this is what you can't do with the other one. Because it's curved, you can just glide it in over the top of that, and it makes limited, if not no contact at all, with the canal wall. Now this is all in the lateral portion, this is all in the outer aspect of the ear. So you can put a little bit of pressure on there, it's not in the bony bit at all. But to be honest, if I'd have pushed the old curette in there, the chances are it might well have just pushed it further back in. But because of the shape of it, I was able to glide it over the top, really embed it in and pull it out. Now this thing was a bit of a monster, this was a big one. And I don't think I would have been able to get it out any other way, to be honest with you. I mean, I might have, but it would have taken a lot longer, because this thing was, it was so thick, big, dense and bulky. And it was actually bending a little bit as well. I think these things are, correct me if I'm wrong, I think these are made of carbon fibre. So there is a bit of give in them, you know, they're not made of metal. But this thing was so hard and literally so jammed in between those bends that as I was trying to pull it, it was slightly bending a bit. It seemed to be bending slightly less than the older tools that I've used as well, so they're possibly a bit stronger as well. You can just see how I'm trying to rock that backwards and forwards because it is absolutely wedged. It took some getting out, this one. And my hands and my arms, my shoulders were aching after this because I was really having to put some force in to get this thing out. I will put a link to Connor's review at the end of this video as well, because I know he did one which was great. I know he thinks they're pretty good as well. I'm certainly going to start using these more in my practice as well. And so, I mean, I applaud him for doing it. I really do, because I do know what kind of work and effort and time and money goes into something like this. My sister is actually she's an engineer by trade, but now she specialises in engineering patent protection, and I know how difficult it is to get things like trademarks, I think passing medical devices and patent protections for things like this. And you know, I did have a few ideas of my own a while ago, and when I looked into it and then I saw some of the forms that you had to fill in, I thought, not for me. Not for me. I'd rather spend my spare time with the family, but just home life's way too busy for me to go and do something like that. I may in the future when the kids are older, who knows, but I'm not going to tell anybody what that is, just in case they pinch that idea. Someone will probably think of it before then anyway. But as you can see, we're really trying to pull and yank that forward. It was substantial, this thing as well. So in summary, what do I think of them? They're really good. By the way, Neil's not, this is not sponsored. It's not sponsored by Clearwax in any way. It's a completely independent review. And I think they are really good, and I'm certainly going to use them a lot more in my practice. You know, I've only had them about a week now, and there's very few days where it hasn't passed where where a couple of them have come to the rescue. Hence the title of the video, Rai To The Rescue. So once again, Neil, I do congratulate you on it. It's some effort to get all that done. And to get that out there, the eardrum not very happy there, that ear canal after that. Not surprising considering what's been in it, really. So it's a yes from me. I know he's had a yes from Connor. So I suppose all you need now is another 2 yeses and you're through to judges' houses. Unless it's a golden buzzer from me. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Found it interesting. Once again, a big thanks to Neil for sending those through. I really appreciate it, and I will certainly be putting in an order very soon when I've used up these ones. But for now, take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon. Ta-da.